My name is Adrian Nantchev, and this channel is all about helping you become a remarkable entrepreneur. So click on the subscribe button below and press the bell notification next to it for the latest uploads. Now, how does an entrepreneur go about creating content that the audience, that people, love? There are two principles that I endeavour to talk about, I always try to embed in my content. And these two principles are also the basis of an upcoming book of mine that I've yet to start writing, but I've got all the ideas in my head. So subscribe to this channel for the latest news about that. So these two principles are: one, that you have got to solve a very specific problem for your customer, for your audience, and two, or one even, is everything you create has got to pass the so what test. So let's talk about so what test first, meaning that every topic of the blog, of videos, of contents, books, podcasts, infographics, cheat sheets, etc. It's got to pass what I call the so what test, meaning here's a video you put out into the world. Potential target audience sees that video in their feed, or on YouTube, or on Google search results, or on Google wherever, or YouTube wherever, or in Facebook wherever. They see it and they read the title, see the picture, whatever, and then instantaneously in their head they think, is that worthwhile? Is it interesting? Do I really care? Is that, is it necessary? Essentially they're saying to themselves, should I give a shit about this? Should I care about it? Is it relevant enough to me? Is it important enough to me? Should I click it? Should I read it? Should I watch it? Is it important enough for me to stop what I'm doing and watch it, consume this? Is it important enough for me to add it to my watch later? Is it important enough for me to add this to the save links on Facebook? Is it important enough for me to give a shit about it? And you've got to create content that people will give a shit about. And you know what they'll give a shit about depending on who your target audience is, and what kind of problems they have, and what kind of information that they will care about. For example, this channel is all about helping entrepreneurs become remarkable. So I'm going to create content that helps, teaches, enlightens, reassures, etc., etc., entrepreneurs in different ways. Educates them. I'm going to talk exactly this video. I'm going to talk about how an entrepreneur can create content for their audience in their business. The more applicable it is, the more relevant, the more it passes that so what test by flying colours, the more they need to know, the more they're desperate to read, they see something. Oh, I've got to read that. What is that? Tell me now. Tell me now. That captures their attention, that captures the eyeballs. And capturing the eyeballs, eye-catching, that's the first battle. The second battle to fight is the information you provide has got to be worth a damn. It's got to be worthwhile. It's got to solve a problem. Every content you create, no matter what form it is, has got to scratch an itch. So you've captured their attention, that's the first battle, then it's got to scratch an itch. They've found a problem, or they realise something, and then you've got to scratch it. You've actually got to give them what they expect from you, what they expect the answer to be, or what they expect the content to be. It can't just be, hey, this is how to do X, and then never actually teach how to do X. It's got to actually provide the answer. People tend to look for a few things in content. Look for answers to specific questions or information in general, or like reassurance or enlightenment. This is what people talk about when they say add value. Very vague, that phrase is, by the way. Add value. There's really a few ways, as I just said. Answer a question, enlighten, reassure, or like you just provide information. So if someone's worried about something, or I'm concerned about this might happen, and I see something that's totally relevant to me, how to prevent that thing from happening that you're worrying about, it passes the so what test, and then it teaches them how to actually stop worrying, how to mitigate, what contingencies, stuff like that, Unless it passes the so what test, and actually provides information, actually answers their question, actually teaches them something, then people will not give a shit about the content. They will not love it. They will not care. If it's not relevant to them, if it doesn't pass the so what test and doesn't answer their question, they won't care. And the more people that you trip over or don't answer the question to or fail to grab their eyeballs and attention for, they're kind of like, not the worst, but the less noticed as you follow that structure and not learning the lessons, the less notice and less attention you will get, because you're not piquing the viewers or the potential viewers' interests. You're not capturing their attention. You're not getting their eyeballs. Not deserving that click. So a few ways to understand, or ways to pass the so what test and create information, is who you're targeting. In the book, is right here actually, the book Crossing the Chasm by Jeffrey A. Moore, he talks about how there's the early adopters, innovators, early majority, late majority, and laggards. Different kind of people that will approach technology in different ways. Like the early adopters will jump instantly on a new technology because they're in love with it, they've waited their entire life for this technology to be available. Or the innovators, they'll jump on this technology because they see that competitive advantage they have by you adopting the technology before the mainstream does. And the early majority really only adopt your technology or product when, one of two things actually, when there's a pressing problem and they have no one else to turn to, they're desperate for an answer or a resolution, and then they'll turn to you, and or every 3 out of 4 people that they know are talking about it, like fidget spinners. People are talking about it and it's gone mainstream and everyone knows about it. So these different segments of the population, it's worth targeting, creating customer personas for each of these kind of people in the public, in your target audience. So for example, oh by the way, as a side note, I will be an early adopter on something, but I'll be a laggard on other things, and so will you. I'll be a late majority on some other things, but in other things I'll be an innovator on different things. Like my iPhone, for example, is iPhone 5 from 2012. I'm a bit of a late majority when it comes to latest iPhone technology. But when it comes to YouTube, algorithm, or adopting YouTube in general, I'm probably in the innovators, near the beginning of the entire thing, and there's relatively few competition. So define your target audience and understand, create a target audience within each of those segments, the early adopters and the innovators, and understand, cross-reference the crossing the chasm kind of thing. So the innovators are people who see the competitive advantage. So if you aim for if I aim for entrepreneurs that want the competitive advantage in social media, for example, how can I then create content for those specific things that they'll pass the so what test and actually give them what they're searching for, provide information for them. That's how you create. This is how you find the audience to appeal to, and then using what the like demographics and their psychology on what their needs and the demands are, then you can create content that they will love. It's there's another interesting analogy called the long tail. It's to do with search results. Like here's 20% of the market, 20% here, and then it goes down a different search volume for different key phrases. So there's a majority of searches of, say, Apple or Facebook will be here. They get maximum results and maximum searches, but then it drops off. So a lot of long tail keywords, like keywords that search on Google or YouTube that are like 4 or 5 characters long, or obscure names or obscure phrases, for example, not going to get much traffic, not going to get much attention, but the engagement will be through the roof, because if someone searches something very specific and something very unique, then the chances are they're going to consume what you've created that answers their question specifically. And I then say, go scale and blow up, explode on the long tail. Make the long tail the new head, long tail, short tail, yeah. Or create tons and tons of specific, very niche, I'm not too fond of that phrase because it has some a bit stupid connotations, niche, monopoly on different topics and conversations that appeal to these audiences. That they are bound to be, someone in the world is bound to be searching for all the time. And if you create specific information that are tailored perfectly to these people, that passes the so what test and answers their question in extreme detail, and you create tons and tons of that content on scale, en masse, every day, constantly, then this audience is going to find you easier and quicker. And when they find you, then they can start to subscribe to you, follow you. You know, they can adopt what you're talking about. But they're not going to do any of that unless you first grab their attention. And the way to grab their attention is to know specifically who you're targeting and to figure out what kind of pressing problems or answers they will need solving, and then give it to them. That is how you go about creating content people love. And this also is the basis of an upcoming book of mine. So I urge you to subscribe to this channel for the latest updates about that book. I'm thinking of calling it Attention Avalanche. I've got all the notes written down, but not yet started writing it. So my question to you today, the question of the day is, how are you creating content for your audience? How are you creating stuff for people that they can love and consume? How are you creating stuff for them? Answer below. But before you do that, understand and remember that this channel is all about helping you become a remarkable entrepreneur. So click on the subscribe button below and hit the bell notification next to it and go out there today and do something remarkable. How cool is that?